Hey, I'm William with Man and Dolly, and today we're interviewing Amanda Vigil. Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Tell
Yeah, Amanda Vigil with Tradition Senior Moves and Downsizing, and I'm a realtor with Type Real Estate.
and how long have you been doing it?
I have been in real estate about 5 years. Previous to this, I was a school teacher for about
Okay,
15.
okay,
So
nice.
had my third baby, stayed home, and decided to get my license.
Yeah,
And when I got into it, I saw that I love real estate. I
right.
saw that so many seniors were my clients and they couldn't get from point A to point B of they know they needed to move, there was a life change, there was something going on, but they,
Mhm.
they couldn't make the little in-betweens happen.
And that's how the
And
move
yes,
management
so I
came into play.
yes, and I was doing so many things with coordinating the movers and doing all sorts of things. I thought, well, I can just lump this together in one easy package for them,
Yeah.
where I bring in the movers, I bring in cleaners, I bring in, we do contract services on the house if there's any construction that needs to be done to get it ready for a listing.
Hmm.
We do landscaping, just completely get it ready.
Dang, landscaping and everything,
Bring
huh?
them in. Yeah.
Wow.
And then
Okay.
we get them moved to assisted living, independent living, memory care. We have movers unpack the entire place. I bring in an interior designer to get it set up.
Hmm.
Any odds and ends they need around there, I bring in another contractor, hanging TVs or anything put together,
Hmm.
and they walk in and they live there
Is
and
there
they
anything
sell
you
the home.
don't do?
No, I've moved pets before. I've
Oh
moved.
wow! Now I
We
know that is a big deal.
Yes,
A
pets are a
lot of people,
huge deal, and that
yeah,
is that's their companion.
yeah,
And so making sure they are taken care of. We've
not
moved pets.
stressed.
Hmm.
I actually just moved a customer up to Idaho,
Hmm.
and they had two cats,
Hmm.
and one of them's young. They can fly. In the
Oh, they
cargo
can. Uh-huh.
area, but the other one had to fly with them because it was
Oh,
older, and they
yeah,
were worried about the stress levels and
yeah,
the age, and they
yeah,
took it to the doctor,
yeah.
and just it wouldn't have made it being in
Oh,
the cab.
yeah.
So when we got to the other end, cat was okay.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
It is a really big deal. So just honoring their wishes with things, and if there are any charities of choice that they prefer, we bring those in to have items donated,
Okay.
rather than just taking it to Goodwill. I'll bring in
Right.
different charities, whether it's Orphan Grain Train or any disabled veterans coming in.
Do you work with any consignment stores?
Yes, I
Okay.
have some
Yeah.
fantastic consignment stores I bring things to, estate planners or
Yeah.
estate sale planners.
I personally love consignment stores. They tend to have more quality
Hmm.
than like a thrift store.
Yes,
And
yes.
so you get more unique furniture. It's not
Hmm.
IKEA. It's not
Hmm.
like on its way out.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so I have, since being in the moving industry,
Hmm.
I have really taken a liking
Yes.
to consignment stores.
My favorite is Riga of Paris in Georgetown. They're the best.
Riga?
Yes, I
Okay.
love them. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll
That's
drop
a new
off
one.
items. They're very reasonable and they're respectful, and I really like them.
Yeah. Do
But
they do pickups? Because I know some of them do, some of them
I
don't.
think it depends. I've never had to pick up. I've just had the movers drop things off, or I've
That
taken
makes
items, whether
sense.
it's china or silverware, things like that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, sometimes I'll bring in independent consigners because if it's really rare items,
Okay.
um,
Oh, okay.
just some odd rare items,
Yep.
there are people who
They
who
need
love
that
those.
specific
Yes, rather than
clientele.
dropping off consignment, I'll call the antique. The, one in Round Rock is a really good one. That antique store right there. They have a bunch of different individual people.
Okay.
So some like model cars, some are big on stuffed taxidermy. It is.
Dang.
I'm telling you,
So
I've seen
you're the
some
who's
stuff.
who of the
I don't know
everything.
about that, but I've seen some
Yeah.
stuff. And then cars too. Sometimes cars need to be sold, so
Right.
I'll bring
Right.
in. I'll just connect them with people for that.
Okay.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Well,
Well, I did have a couple questions
yeah,
for you.
yeah.
So, one, I was curious, what is something you wish more clients knew about your role as a realtor?
Yeah, I wish. Well, what I try to give them and what I say from the get go is, you're the boss here.
Okay.
You have options. I know it doesn't feel like you have too many options, but you
Right.
have more than you think. And I'm not coming in as a traditional realtor where we're going to put it on the market and people are coming through your home and then selling it and then you move. This is a completely different process than a normal family. And so
Could
letting them know
you?
that I do things differently. My
Okay.
main goal is to keep them safe and to respect their independence and them as people,
Right.
because they're facing cognitive decline, they're facing physical limitations. It
Hmm.
can be family issues. Sometimes the house is in terrible condition and they're told they can't go back. So just being respectful of those things um, is my main goal, and is what I wish people knew more about what I do. So that's what
Hmm.
I try to tell them from the beginning, and I try to bring them at least 3 different options for what to do with the house.
Okay.
Not just, like I said, putting it on the market, but we strive to get them out first, and
Hmm.
then we handle it however they want. Whether it's
And
a
what
quick,
are some of the
some of the
options that
options, yeah,
you
good
were?
question, can be a quick cash offer.
Okay.
I have one client right now where I just met with her. She's in rehab. She can't go home,
Hmm.
and the house is in pretty poor condition. And she needs the money by the 1st of February.
Mm.
So that means we've got investors coming in to put offers in, and I'm protecting her from them also. It's investors try to come in and lowball, and that's the name of the game. They're out there to make money and do their thing, but also is that what's best for her? Or
Hmm.
do we need to put it on the market as is and just a quick sale that way? But that can take up to 30 to 90 days still.
Right.
Or are we getting it completely ready? We're going in and updating anything we need to, then making it beautiful, deep cleaning, power washing, landscaping,
Right.
putting it on the market.
So that it looks pretty,
Mm-hmm.
and then staging the home
Mm-hmm.
so that it's good
Yep.
for like listing
Yep.
and such
Gorgeous.
like
Yep.
that.
Gorgeous pictures, marketing, but that can take 30 to 120 days.
But that's how you get the most
Yes.
value out of it
Yes.
if you have
If
the
time is
luxury of
on your side, and
exactly.
that's the pain point of a lot of people.
Right.
Time might not be on their side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you cover all three? What was the third
Let's see.
there?
Quick
Because
cash
you said,
option,
yep,
putting it
and
on
then
the market on the MLS as is,
okay.
meaning we're not
Oh,
making
as
any
is.
repairs as is,
Gotcha.
but it can still take longer.
Gotcha.
Um, or we're getting it completely ready.
Right. Okay.
And then
Nice.
just they have options with where they want to go also.
Hmm.
I bring in Care Patrol is a fantastic senior placement service that I work with a lot. I
Okay.
send them to Lacey Petch with Care Patrol, and she helps them find a place
Right.
that fits their needs in this
That
area.
has what they need because you mainly work with like the older
Yes.
demographic, so
Yes.
they need uh like certain health concerns, and
Mm-hmm.
they need to have their physicians nearby and
Yes.
such like that. So
Yes.
you kind of help line them up with the right people
Yes.
so that they have that in their new area.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, there are
Wow.
so many doctors visits they've got to go to. And is
Yep.
transportation an issue? Do we need to have them closer to one of the hospitals? So I moved a gentleman and his wife in Lakeway, and they moved right there next to the hospital. So they're just a short little drive.
Yeah.
Or getting a transportation service for them. But so
Yeah.
some people need to go into independent living. They're still
Hmm.
active. They're still cooking.
Right.
They want to move around. They want their car. So they move into independent living or a 55 plus apartment.
Right.
Some people
Which
need.
are on the rise.
They are everywhere.
Yep.
Yep. You
Yep.
drive through Pflugerville,
Big
Georgetown.
time.
They're everywhere. And
Yep.
so you've got that, and those places have phenomenal amenities. They have
They
the
do.
spa pools, they have movie
Yep.
theaters, they have salons. It's
Yep.
awesome activities for them, because the number one thing that I see is isolation in seniors.
Right.
So when they get over to independent living or assisted living, they start to flourish
Hmm.
because they're getting those solid meals a day. They're getting interaction with people. They're
Right.
having somebody check on them and somebody putting a little bit of love into them, and
Right.
they start to do
Someone to
better.
talk to, and yeah.
And I'm serious. Isolation is the number one thing that kills people.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
seniors.
I hear
It's really
that.
sad.
As movers, we definitely
You see it.
get
You
that.
can see
Yeah.
some stuff.
Yeah, because we'll be, because we're most of the time we're on the clock,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like trying to balance between give them the venting
Yeah.
option for them to
Yes.
talk about, oh, this place, and then the memories and
Yes.
such like that, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, okay, but we don't want to run up the time.
Yes.
We want to get to the dresser,
But they need
you
to
know.
talk.
Yeah, exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
And yeah, so what you hit on something big, but they want to talk about the items. So that's something we do when we're sorting the items. I
Hmm.
go in and I help them decide, what do you want to take? What are
Hmm.
the things that are, and we put them into distinct piles, things that are going, and we put dots on everything.
Right.
Something tangible, they look at it, they can change their mind, but this is what's going.
Hmm.
And then some dots for, I think I want this sold. Let's try this in an estate sale. And then
Hmm.
some stuff they say, you know what, it's just junk. I don't want to see it.
Hmm.
And there's also the option of, I need to send this to a family member in Washington or Illinois or somebody. I need to
Hmm.
send something. So we've sent things to people that can't come and get it.
Okay.
So, and then once they go through that, but it's telling the story as they're going through these items. And sometimes that's the biggest thing people need to do to let go of an item,
Hmm.
because things hold memories and
Yep.
emotions, and that's why they want to keep them, but you can't. You don't need 4 sets of china. You don't need 27 figurines in 3 different curio cabinets. What do you need in your small space? So a lot of
Right.
times they're moving to a 1 room, maybe a 2 room apartment
Hmm.
community.
Yep. Yep. I hear
Yeah,
that. Yes,
yeah,
indeed. And I did have one more written down here. I was I mean, you kind of already really sort of answered it, but your transitions company, what has it given you? I guess the experience that really gives you a leg up in real estate and helping
mm-hmm,
people through the process.
mm-hmm.
And I mean, you really kind of already, but if you want to speak more on
Yeah,
it, but
yeah,
essentially
that's
it's
a good question, because more on the real estate side, there are things that traditional realtors who maybe help families mostly, don't know about.
right.
There are things with the sale that can affect Medicare or Medicaid. If a spouse had Medicaid, there, and you need to sell the house and they've passed,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
government's coming after that money, so that
Right.
affects your proceeds. And knowing those things up front, covering power of attorney, the title companies I work with set that up for them. We do mobile notaries for people so they don't have to go anywhere. And the other thing too is sometimes if somebody has passed, the spouse is might still be on the deed if they haven't transferred it over,
Hmm.
or gone through probate, and handling the, just getting them set up with attorneys to do affidavit of heirships,
Hmm.
meaning, there's just lots of paperwork for people to do. And so
Wow.
there are a lot of things that people don't know, normal realtors, and I say normal, but it's just more traditional versus focusing on just seniors,
Right.
because there are a lot of, again, things that later on just that hit
There's more
them and you
layers.
don't know layers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
I hear that.
yeah,
Yes, indeed.
yep.
Well, wow. I tell you, I'm thoroughly impressed.
Oh, thank you,
Yes, indeed.
thank you, thank you.
Um,
One other thing that I'm passionate about is, prevention.
okay.
You see these people in these horrible conditions, these sad situations. Well, how did they get there? Well, there are preventative things that we can do for the sandwich generation. Have you heard of that term? Sandwich
Not at
generation?
all.
Okay.
No. Sandwich.
Sandwich generation.
Okay.
It's older adult or middle adults,
Okay.
okay, who have aging parents,
Okay.
and who have kids that they're still taking care of,
Okay.
and aging parents that they're helping with.
So, like, what's
So
the,
they're
is
in the
there an
middle.
age
They're in a
range?
sandwich. 40s, 50s,
Okay.
60s, depends on how old your parents are. There's a
Okay.
huge range.
Gotcha.
But they're dealing with, oh my gosh, my mom fell. What do I do?
Right.
But they've got teenagers at home who still need care and who still need things, and they've got to put them through college. But oh my gosh, what do we do with my mom's house? How do we handle this?
Hmm.
It's called sandwich generation. And they end up being the caregivers, or they end up taking so much burden on, and it's very stressful.
Hmm.
And so it's putting information in front of people before they're in those situations. And it just comes back to education and options. So I've started a life group at my church with friend Lori Bennett, who works with diagnosing Alzheimer's and dementia. we're giving them tests, and we got together, and she said, hey, I see what you do. Here's what I do. People need help. I said, yes. So we started a life group called Seniors University.
Okay.
And we started it last
Seniors
semester.
University.
Seniors University.
Okay.
It's at our church in Round Rock, and we're starting up next week. We go Fridays 9:30 to 10:30. It's open to the seniors at our church, caregivers, anybody in the community, to come in. And every week we have an educational topic. We've brought in lawyers. We've brought in Medicare specialists.
Wow.
We bring in downsizers. We bring in people who can just give them these tips, and we put it together in a binder. And it's just like school. And that's it. Education is where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Just preventing. And here that I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to give you your options and present you with people who can help you. Because that's so much of it. What it is what do we do? How do we get some things in place before mom falls? How do we get some things in place before there's a hoarding situation and she can't move anywhere? Those sort of things.
Wow.
And so many people struggle with how to talk to their parents because they get frustrated at them. I was speaking with somebody the other day at a community, and she said the daughter was saying, you just need to get rid of all your junk. You have so much crap everywhere. It's like, oh, it's not the way to say it.
Yeah.
Here's a way to say it. Here's a way to frame it. And I try to help people with that too. Here's a way to frame it. You just got to give choices. It's working with kids sometimes. Everybody wants some choices, and they want to feel independent, especially when they're faced with so many decisions and things that they never thought they would be facing.
Right. Yep. I hear that.
End of life. But so that's in Round Rock at King of Kings Lutheran Church.
Okay.
And I'll send you information about it if you want to come.
Please,
and we're putting on a caregiver university this spring. So that's where it comes back to the sandwich generation. This is going to be geared towards middle adults who they have those parents, and then these kids at home, and they're trying to do their own life in the middle. But here are just options. So caregiver university sometime this spring. We don't have the date yet.
Okay.
But bringing in people to talk about different assistive technology.
Okay.
There's so many different things.
Assistive technology.
I think, yeah.
Okay.
So many different things where on apps on phones and things where seniors and their kids or their caregivers can be aware of if they fall.
Right.
Or something happens in the home. They can't work their TV, and they need a different type of setup. So just assistive technology to help them with that. People to talk on estate planning and how to just stay ahead of those things.
So it sounds like you're still in the education.
I am. That's where my heart is. Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's just, again, options for people, and just because you don't know until they don't know until they're in the throes of it, and it's too late, and they're having to make some tough decisions that stink.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, we dealt with that when my dad passed a few years ago, and there was no will. There was nothing. I only know a little bit of it because my brother and my mom were mainly dealing with that. But from what I understand, it was a heck of a time trying to get any benefits. And so that even just to pay for the funeral alone was just a hurdle. And so I only know a little bit about it because they kind of
handled it.
Yeah.
Older brother?
Yeah, older. Yeah. Kind of just put hey, look, I'm going to handle this. And and then sounds like, you could help someone through that same process.
Yeah, I try to, and just again getting them connected with a few different attorneys, that can walk them through things. Medicare, Medicaid, veterans benefits if they were veterans.
So is location an issue, or what areas do you cover? I guess because you got a lot of resources. Is it sort of just to the Round Rock area, or kind of where can you help people at?
So I've helped Lakeway up to Gerald, Belton, up in there. A lot of those things I will refer out just because it is kind of a drive. But my area is mostly Austin, North Austin, Round Rock, Georgetown.
Cool deal.
Yeah, but again, there are people who do what I do across the country. And also, if there's somebody moving to another part, or I've helped people who just aren't around here, I help them get connected with somebody who specializes there.
Right. Yeah. So if there's not if people are just now finding out about this kind of service, because I didn't know about this service.
Okay.
I didn't even know you went to this full extent.
Okay.
And I didn't even know that this full extent existed. I guess what would be, if someone's not in your area and doesn't know to reach out to you, what do they search in their town? That's if they are in like a Utah or Idaho or what have you? What would you say that they should search?
Yeah, I would start with senior placement.
Senior
placement agencies, and don't go with the ones that are like Home for Mom or just the online ones.
A Home for Mom?
Yeah, I think it's called a Home for Mom or a Place for Mom, or it's one of those it's online. I discourage those because they only go to certain communities that they have contracts with and won't look at everything. So they're not in the best.
So they're biased.
They're not in the best interest of the senior.
Yep.
I would talk to a real person. Care Patrol, Oasis is a good one too. Let me think one more. I would just search senior placement agencies or senior placements. Okay. Or talk to, if they're working at a rehab community, talk with the case managers. They are a wealth of knowledge and can connect them too.
Yeah. I mean, and that really kind of brings up a point that I really, especially in moving, is communication is so important. And if you can't talk to someone, if you can't get through to an individual, a human being, and they make it hard for that to happen, then I personally, and I would recommend it to any customer or client I deal with, that just don't do business with them.
Right.
Because if they're not going to hear you, you're not going to hear them. It's just going to be...
You're wasting your time. And
exactly.
Time is not always on their side.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need somebody who will take you to the communities, tour with them, ask the questions that need to be asked, negotiate the price of the community, the monthly fee. They can work with that too.
To kind of cover the lack of knowledge that, me, the individual going through the process, doesn't know.
Because you just don't know. And you're not supposed to know everything, So you lean on those people.
There's too much to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you're in the throes of grief and they can't think clearly.
Yeah.
So, just connecting them with good people who can help them.
Yes, indeed. Yep. Awesome.
Well, this was awesome. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure to meet
you.
Is there anything else you want to add?
Just one other option I present to people is not everybody wants to move out of their home. They're not ready yet, but there are things that they can do to stay safe in their home. So I've brought in aging in place specialists, meaning somebody like an occupational therapist that can walk through and tell them what they need to do to get their home ready for them to stay safely there. Is it wheelchair accessible? Is it walker accessible? Are there clear pathways? Is it lighted? What do the door handles look like? They go through everything to give them a plan of here's what it'll look like for you to stay here for the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
Because again, not everybody wants to sell their home. They want to stay there and live out the rest of their life, but just to do it safely. And sometimes that means, well, how do I pay for it? There's the reverse mortgage option.
Okay.
Where I'm not involved anymore with anything real estate. I just give them the tools to, hey, talk to these people. They can help you pull the equity out and you can live safely here.
And that's a reverse mortgage.
Reverse mortgage.
Okay.
Yeah. And so if anybody needs any contacts, I can give them those too, because it's not an option for everybody, but it is an option for some people, and that can really help them.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool deal. Yeah. You learn something every day.
That's so true. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Yep. Well, it was a pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure's mine. Indeed. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to be on here. All right, that was it. Yep. Thank you.